I want to throw a different perspective at you.
Mm.
Maybe maybe those men that are doing the complaining and the shaming, maybe their
Mm.
intentions are pure, and they just want women to change their behavior to to be proper women. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe it's not about having access to them, but yo, we're tired of hearing you complain. Here is a solution. Here is the solution.
Let me ask you a
Stop
question,
moving the way
AP.
you're moving.
Let me ask you, AP.
Hmm.
So do you think if they just turned the internet off, that they would have the same issues with women in real life? Do they see those same issues, or do
They
you
might
think
as
that it's
well
Okay.
go
something?
Stevie Wonder.
Like what would happen if they turned the internet off? We would return to 1994,
No, what I'm saying.
and
No,
I know. Give me 1 second
oh,
there. I'll land it. I promise. Uh, it'll turn back to 1994, and those guys that didn't have access still won't have access, and the guys that have access now had access then because either charismatic, funny, know how to have a real conversation with a female. Basically, some guys know how to tickle the brain of a female, and some guys are just simply socially awkward. And
I
I
think
would
you.
argue that most of those guys would probably still not have access to the women in their town.
That's not what I was asking. That's what I was trying to see. So what I'm
Oh, I'm
asking
sorry.
is, if you turn the internet off,
Mm-hmm.
computers off,
Mm-hmm.
would you have the same problem with the way the women are dressing?
Yes. If they're dressing the same as they are now,
No, 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 no. So when you walk outside, that's what you see people dress like?
I do. I even see it at the high school.
Really? I
They
mean,
they do be they do be dressing like that now.
I
But
do
I
see.
but I but I say this. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. If I was a single man
What?
and I was driving down the street and I seen them with them outfits on, I would turn and probably hop out and holler at them. I'm not even gonna like lie
Be a
about that
rap.
shit.
So
Be,
when
be a
y'all
rap,
would,
bro. What?
so maybe
So
so I will agree that the young ladies in high school dress like they're going outside, not dress
oh, not
like
high
that.
schools. I'm talking about adults.
No, no, but
So
no. That's what I'm
so
saying. I'm saying
so
I
when
even see it at the high school because I mean,
Oh
I'm up
yeah,
there
I
right.
daily,
missed that
so
part.
So what I'm saying
You know,
is,
yeah, I'm
to
not
the
looking at them now.
degree,
Hold on
because
now.
everybody's wearing short, what, to the degree of inappropriateness. You're saying that when you walk outside, you see a mass group of women. Really?
Yes, ma'am.
it depends on where you at. At the club, you will see it. At concerts, you will see it. This
Right.
like lingerie, leisure attire is a big thing now. I do see women doing that. But my thing is, if you is dating one of these women and you can't tell her to stop, leave her. If not, because the reason I'm saying this is because when I was like young and outside and doing all this shit, it would have been a real long night if them type of women didn't exist. I'm sorry. Like
That's
the
a
first
fact,
question
sir.
I was getting up with my homies and asking them wasn't where the wives at. That's not how that conversation went. So like,
I just called
Let
it
me let me say this
where the
too,
holes at,
Marcus.
nigga.
Let me say this too. This is a real life observation. It is so funny because me and my boo had a conversation. I feel like sometimes black women gotta do the most on dates. And what I'm saying is, when I see, let me just say, and when I say do the most, I don't mean provocative. What I'm saying is be jazzed up. I be seeing white people on dates, they just have a sweatshirt on, long baggy pants, the pants flooding, and they man be just like, But black women, if you come looking like that, nigga be like, a man be like, sorry, I didn't mean to say nigga, but a man be like, where she going?
But isn't that a cultural battle? Isn't that a cultural battle? I mean, just stop and think about it. Where does that stem from? Every time we have these conversations,
Yeah,
every time we have these conversations, we keep going back to what is the root cause of this. You go back and look at elementary, middle school, high school. You're not wearing the newest J's. Your outfit doesn't match. You're wearing, low non-name brand
mm,
Salvation Army, right? So the culture at large is sick. You know what I'm saying? Instead of instilling, you know, financial literacy, what books to read, and other things that should be preoccupying your mind while you're young and while you're curious about the world and everything around you. Why are we teaching young people to be so self-consumed about apparel, fashion, right? And then they carry that stuff out into the dating world. Then once they cross each other, it's like, oh, I threw away that whole good man because his shoes weren't shiny enough. You know what I'm saying? It felt like his belt was like one turnbuckle too big. And it's like all these frivolous things that have nothing to do about the man because they're so married to the image or this idea of this image that they're willing to ruin everything just to try to align to that aesthetic.
So, Luis, hopefully I can compose myself long enough to rebut just a little bit. But imagine growing up not having any of that shit. Not everything is hand me down, second hand, or consignment, right? Everything you own. And then finally you get to a place in life where you can get you whatever you want. And then you have a kid. You remember the where you were in your mental space growing up, where you would see kids that were fly and you felt like you felt less than, and your goal, your objective is to make sure your kid never feels less than. Here's the part that we miss: the lesson in the consignment, the lesson in the second hand, because the lesson in that is that you learn to A, make things work, and B, appreciate what you have. We forget to teach those lessons to our kids. So we have created this generation of entitlement because we never had. And for women especially, they grew up with this being beat into them: go to college, get an education. Once you get out of college, you can make the money. Like, that was the lesson that was beat into the women, so that they don't have to go through the struggle of their moms. But once they've done that, it is, I don't have, my kid is never going to have to go through what I went through, not fully understanding that there's value in the lesson, and you can still teach that lesson. Make sure your kid has everything they need without giving them everything that they want. Because I remember myself growing up, I didn't have the nicest stuff, and sometimes I did feel less than. I get it, right? But I always had everything I needed to live. I always had food. Our lights never went off. I always had a roof over my head, which is, there are a lot of kids that can't say that. But we have forgotten to teach the lessons that came along with that struggle.